Salt in His Shoes. Michael Jordan in Pursuit of a Dream by Delores Jordan with Roslyn M. Jordan and illustrated by Kadar Nelson. Do you guys know who Michael Jordan is? Well, let's see if this tells you. But what do you guys think he did? At the end, Miss Amanda will tell you a secret. Michael loved to play basketball. Every Saturday, he followed his older brothers, Larry and Ronnie, to the park, hoping they would let him play. And if one of the guys who usually played with them didn't show, they always did. But there was one problem. His name was Mark, and he was the tallest boy on the court. "What's the matter? Mikey too short?" Mark flapped his arms in Michael's face. "Over here!" shouted Larry. But when Michael threw the ball, Mark's long arms came out of nowhere and knocked the ball away. It flew into the hands of a player on Mark's team. He made the basket, and the game was over. Just like that. I'm really sorry, guys. If I was taller, that wouldn't have happened. All the way home, Michael apologized, even though no one was mad at him. His older brother, Ronnie, tried to cheer him up. "Look, little brother, you played good today. Don't worry. We'll win the next time." When they got home, Michael went to the kitchen where Mama was, cooking dinner. He was still disappointed, and she could tell. "You guys lost again today, huh?" Michael nodded. He sat quietly for a minute, and then said, "Mama, how can I grow taller?" Now, Mama knew the answer to a lot of questions, but this was a tough one. She thought for a moment as she sprinkled salt and pepper on the chicken she was making for dinner. Then she smiled, looked at Michael, and said, "Salt." "Salt," Michael looked at his mama. "Salt in your shoes. We'll put salt in your shoes and say a prayer every night. Before you know it, you'll be taller," she replied. "Salt in my shoes?" Michael said quietly to himself. Surely Mommy was teasing. He sat staring out at the window, trying to figure out how salt was going to help him grow. He noticed the rose bushes outside in Mama's garden. They had grown high along the fence. The roses of all colors were blooming on the vines. He thought to himself, "I remember when Mama first planted those bushes." Michael's face lit up. If Mama knows how to make those rose bushes grow taller, then maybe she's right. Maybe salt in my shoes will really help me grow. What do you guys think? Do you think salt can help you grow? Growing more excited, Michael twirled around and started asking a lot of questions. "Mama, how long will it take? And how tall do you think I'll get?" Smiling, Mama sat down next to him and explained, "In order for this to work, the most important thing you have to do are be patient and listen to what I tell you and say your prayers every night." Listen carefully. Michael shook his head. "Okay, Mama, I'll be patient. But what does saying my prayers have to do with it?" "Everything," Mama replied, and she hugged him. "Now go wash up and tell your brother and sister to get ready for dinner." Michael dashed out of the kitchen, almost knocking over his father, who was walking in. "What's he up to now?" asked Dad. "Oh, the usual," laughed Mama. "Chasing a dream." What kind of dreams do you all have? Later, during dinner, Mama noticed that Michael was barely eating anything. He was already daydreaming about being taller. "Michael, first things first, you won't grow if you don't eat. especially your vegetables, Mom said. But I'm not really hungry, he said, raising her eyebrows. Mama gave him a stern look. Slowly, Michael picked up his fork and began to eat. Minutes later, his plate was clean, and he was asking for more. Do you guys eat your vegetables and fruit and keep a balanced diet? That evening, at bedtime, Michael set his favorite game shoes on the floor next to his growth chart hanging on the wall. Then he put on his pajamas, said his prayers, and jumped into bed. When Mama came in, Michael was fast asleep. By the look on his face, she could tell he was already playing basketball in his dreams. Standing by his bed, Mama sprinkled salt in his shoes, and she prayed quietly over him, as she did with all of her children. Do you see pictures of other sports? What sports do you see? Do you like sports? What sports would you like to play? What dreams do you have? Dear God, please help Michael be the best he can be and give his best in all that he does. And Lord, could you please make him just a little bit taller tomorrow than he is today? Thank you. Amen. After that night, Michael wore his favorite game shoes everywhere he went, even to church. And he stopped going to the park with his brothers on Saturdays. Instead, he stayed home and practiced. He wanted to grow a few more inches before he went back to the park. After 2 months of practicing and waiting patiently and praying, Michael stood next to his growth chart on the wall. Nothing. He hadn't grown an inch. He was disappointed, but he had not stopped believing. I've got to give it time, like Mama said. Michael thought to himself, and that's what he did. Pause, and we will do another video.